hello gangsters, it's me, Logan Paul, and I'm back in the news for, guess what? Up again, dude. It seems like Logan has had a pretty rough 2023 in certain aspects. Prime has been good, but we'll talk about the things that have happened. Do you all remember the incredibly high production value Matrix level trilogy that was uploaded by CryptoZoo about the situation/scam involving Logan Paul's CryptoZoo project? Well, there's been an update. And on top of that, Impaulsive is falling apart, Logan Paul's podcast, and people are really starting to just hate Logan Paul. So back to CryptoZoo. CryptoZoo made a 3-part series exposing Logan Paul for the broken mess that was the CryptoZoo crypto scam thing. It was a rug pull. It was a project that started off above board, but it lacked oversight and led to a bunch of shadiness during its development and finally its launch. And what even was the fucking project? Well, Logan wanted to create a blockchain backed NFT game where you can hatch eggs and crossbreed your fucking animals or whatever to create combinations of different creatures. It's like a zoo. It's really stupid. And then the creature combinations would have value through their cryptocurrency built for the game, $Zoo or Zoo token. Players were promised that they could make money from this. By the way, as every single great crypto scam has done, you could trade the cards with each other and then cash them out for Zoo token value and then trade that for USD. It's so stupid. Now, during the hiring process for this CryptoZoo project, Logan hired a bunch of people and brought them into leadership positions and didn't do any sort of background check. When I got fucking scammed, I still did that, still got scammed. At least you guys didn't get fucking scammed. At least I didn't scam my audience. In fact, this lack of background checking and verification caused a lot of issues. One of the people that Logan hired, named Eddie Ibanez, was just a serial liar who lied about working for US intelligence agencies, working for large sports teams, and even lying about his own mother being dead. The guy was a fucking lunatic. Another fellow named Jake, who called himself the Crypto King, ended up rug pulling the project and taking about $6 million with him and went into like fucking cringe crypto hiding or whatever. That's what crypto people do. They just go into hiding really easily. I don't understand why that's a thing. Along with Eddie and Jake, there was another fellow who just held the game code hostage, allegedly, and lied about how big his team was. This was the head developer. Dude, it's so bad, man. Crypto is just a true racket. There's never been such a racket that has been this widely publicized, maybe in the 30s or 40s or whatever. This is a fucking racket, and Logan is trying to actually make a project here, it seems like, at least, not putting all the effort in he possibly could, and just hiring criminals, hiring idiots, hiring people who are just lying pieces of shit. But back to the head developer fellow allegedly holding the game code hostage. Coffee and the developing team said that they held it hostage because they weren't getting paid, which that makes sense, and I agree with that completely because that's sort of a standard stipulation in contracts. You don't get the work unless the payment is completed. So through all of this, they finally delivered a product to people, but it just didn't work. It just simply didn't work. The eggs were supposed to be able to hatch and turn into animals that were NFTs with rare features that were supposed to give the individual creatures unique values. They just didn't fucking hatch, dude. There was also no way to withdraw your holdings. So dumb. So dumb, so dumb, so stupid. You can imagine this did not bode well for Logan. I mean, he's the Statue of Liberty through this whole bad boy, right? He represents crypto to all the people that bought into his CryptoZoo project. It was his baby, his passion. And he was the one hyping it up and talking about it to his fans, and he was going to be the reason that it succeeded. If, of course, things had gone according to plan. But alas, I'm making this video. They didn't. And it still gets worse, by the way. It gets fucking way worse. Knowing how much responsibility this is, you think you would put more time and effort into making sure the teams behind this were vetted. People were being put in place and in power to give this thing the best of the best possible results. I speak from experience, guys. I got scammed for basically $1 million, $750,000, and there was a lot of things that went into me spending more money on things outside of the scam specifically because of the timelines that were guaranteed in the scam. I did a background check. I had a contract that had specific deliverables. I genuinely got fucked over. You can watch my videos on that, whatever, if you want to. Now that my project is working and we're actually running and we're producing and manufacturing this stuff, the people that I've hired are people that I trust with my life. Genuinely. These are beautiful people who I put trust in. It's not really that hard to find people like that. It's possible to get scammed, but when the perspective switches from building a project to actually selling it to your audience, and you know, that's an additional level of responsibility that needs to be taken very seriously. Yeah, Logan was going to be the reason that this thing succeeded if things had gone according to plan, because it's his baby, it was riding on his back, using his audience, etc. And this was not the case. Eddie and Jake ran with the bag, my man. People named Jake are problematic, it seems like. The guy who scammed me was named Jake. One important note to make here is that Logan and his manager Jeff never sold any of their tokens and were not participants in the rug pull. It's his responsibility to at the very least not actually scam his fans literally himself, but instead just create a project that scams his fans. And a lot of people just got fucked, and they believed in what Logan believed in, and it's pretty much his fault. After being called out by CoffeeZilla, Logan was not happy, as you can imagine, and threatened to sue Coffee, but it was incredibly poorly received.
I suggest you use the money you got from pumping your Patreon to hire a good lawyer.
And he quickly deleted the video, apologized to Coffee and his audience for the way that things had played out, promised to right the wrongs, and he laid out a pretty detailed and impressive plan to accomplish the goal of refunding the victims of the CryptoZoo scam. And part of that plan was for him to invest about 1,000 Ethereum into refunding the victims. And that's like over $1 million. It's pretty impressive. And this was 7 months ago, by the way. Coffee, my friend, made another update. In response to Logan Paul's apology, or whatever it was, and his promise to make things right, Coffee stated that he was going to follow up to make sure that Logan kept his word. I'm an idiot. And to make sure that Logan fixed things for the CryptoZoo believers that were given the mega shaft in the bung. Coffee's update video dropped last month, about 6 months after Logan promised to take accountability, and the details that are revealed are pretty shocking, to be honest. Coffee starts the whole thing by reminding everyone that Logan's audience was scammed of millions of dollars, and then after Logan threatened Coffee with legal action, he was eventually thanked in the end. And then Logan apologized. You know how it goes. Coffee rips off the band-aid immediately and says despite Logan promising to pay back victims after 6 months, he still had not. And on top of that, Logan hasn't even talked about CryptoZoo despite saying he was going to be transparent about the situation going forward.
And I promise to be transparent and disclose any information we find out in the process.
In his second video, going over the situation. And in the months since the original exposing of CryptoZoo, Coffee has reached out on several occasions to Logan personally, and in those messages, he's following up, asking for updates when people can begin to expect refunds, etc., or just for updates on further development of the project. And he reaches out to him personally because in Logan's deleted video, he says that Coffee should have reached out to him and talked to him personally to figure everything out. And he did, by the way. He did the first time, and he did now.
Maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me personally.
Following up on the zoo refunds, when should people expect these? It's been about a month and no one has heard back. The message goes unanswered. The next month, Coffee follows up again. This is 2 months after everything came out, and Coffee expresses his frustration of Logan Paul making promises that are not fulfilled. Not only that, but the lack of communication. What I don't understand is why Logan is telling, using that as some kind of weird virtue thing. Dude, you should have just reached out to me personally. We could have hashed this out. But now he's actually reaching out personally and there's zero communication. I assume maybe it's like a legal thing. Maybe. I really don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to say anything because Coffee would put it in his video and make him look like a fucking idiot, like he's done multiple times. This is definitely something that I would be worried about if I had been scammed by CryptoZoo and this was the only way that I get paid back. Seeing zero communication. This seems worrisome. This seems scary. 3 months after the second message, and a whopping 5 months after the big Chungus was released and Logan Paul made his little promises, etc., Coffee follows up yet again. He calls out the empty promises and manages to still be polite while also being direct. Hey Logan, following up for the third time. It's been over 5 months since you promised to refund victims of CryptoZoo over 3 million. You haven't contacted any of them nor explained why you haven't done what you said you'd do. Meanwhile, you got public credit for promising to do this. Just wondering what's going on. These people aren't well off. They can't afford to float thousands of dollars for months. It is important to note that Coffee importantly noted that Logan hasn't refunded people, but still got good publicity for, taking responsibility. Because he did. He took responsibility. I was pretty impressed with the way everything ended out. Promised to rectify the situation, and instead, followers of CryptoZoo got rectally pounded. I don't know. Rectal? Rectal? Is that a butt hole, I think? I don't know. I thought it'd be funny, but it's not, really. to be honest. I personally thought this would happen. Logan won't respond personally, but his criminal defense lawyer that represents Logan will be the one to respond, because this seems like it's going to be a pretty fucking big deal. And Logan isn't an idiot. He is an idiot, but he isn't an idiot. He did find a criminal defense lawyer, which is hilariously ironic. So, in fact, Logan's lawyer, Jeffrey Neiman, is an experienced trial lawyer who regularly defends individuals and corporations in white-collar criminal litigation. So, pretty funny, dude. Pretty funny. That makes sense. And the message is pretty legalese, you know. They just, it's a non-answer. They just say, we're trying to find out the best way to do this. Reasonably so, Coffee is concerned with the timeline, or the lack thereof, from the legal message from Logan Paul's lawyer. And it's extra bad because Logan did have a plan 6 months ago when he first released his videos, a 3-step plan that was honestly great, dude. His response was good, in my opinion. And if he would have stuck with that, that would be awesome. He'd be sort of back in the good graces of everyone and be able to rectify himself anally. And to be fair, it would be a bad luck for Logan to say, hey guys, still haven't done anything about CryptoZoo yet, but we're working on it. It's an even worse look for just staying radio silent and having Coffee expose him again. It's even worse, dude. People are going to talk. The internet's going to talk. It's going to be bad. I was part of a large scam. I get it. It's fucked up. It fucks you over. It ruins you. It destroys your sense of trust that you have in like a professional environment. Operating on just good faith doesn't work. So I'm glad that CoffeeZilla is following up on all this stuff, because someone has to hold this man accountable, in my opinion. And everything has been kind of going downhill for Logan since all of this. What really looks bad, though, if you juxtapose the amount of money that Prime makes for Logan Paul, $45 million in January alone.
In January of this year, we did 45 million.
Oh, wow. Only in January?
Yeah.
And if you juxtapose that with him owing money basically to people who were fucked over in CryptoZoo, it's bad. It looks bad. $45 million clearly is not just going to Logan. But he's one of the 2 largest people that have holdings in the company. So I assume $1 million at least, maybe 2 million, maybe 3. Who knows? And there's a clip going around of Logan Paul apparently buying a private jet. He shouts out the WWE for this. Pretty baller.
You like bought the plane, which is new. Like usually somebody else covers the expenses of the PJ.
Not a WWE.
So he's getting money from WWE appearances as well, plus merch, plus YouTube, etc. But he just can't refund the victims of the CryptoZoo catastrophe. It is looking bad. And not to mention the devastating financial effects that were laid out to these poor, unsuspecting people who believed in a project that was put forward by one of their favorite creators and a genius visionary. Clap. Hindsight is 2020, but it all seems very fake now. Of course, he released an apology. Of course, he's doing all this. He doesn't care about his audience or fans or the people that got him to where he is. He doesn't care about his platforms. He just cares about protecting his fortune and his estate. That's what it appears to be to me, because he can just print money, basically, and just make an apology and sort of appeal to people's emotion. But people are getting tired of the motherfucker. Like I mentioned, his podcast, Impaulsive, has fallen off pretty hard. There's some more imploding parts of Logan's life. His friendship with George, one of his close friends and co-host of the Impaulsive podcast, that spiraled down. And all of this kind of started, there was a moment back in 2022 in November when Bobby Lee, a comedian, joined the Impaulsive podcast. Bunch of jokes, bunch of good comedian chemistry, but eventually things went too far and George stormed out.
There was certain... He is clocked out.
Yeah, I know. George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse. No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go. You find him.
After a joke gone wrong, which, man, it's a comedian, bro. A real one who's been doing it for a long time. And it also is known to throw tantrums. I mean, that's just like part of Bobby Lee's shtick. George kind of seemed from the beginning to be really different in the podcast, but that's sort of what set him apart. In my opinion, I didn't really find him that funny. He seemed like a good guy. I also don't find Mike or Logan very entertaining either. Nothing personal against them, by the way. I need to make sure that I can say this. My personal sense of entertainment, it does not get tickled when I watch the Impaulsive podcast. All right. That being said, George seemed out of place in this whole thing. He kind of sat off to the side. There's many instances of him kind of getting called out by guests for just not talking. Shaquille O'Neal, for example.
So I've been like trying, and then the worst. Let's give George a round of applause. Get him back in the game.
He's your partner.
He's the newest.
You might want to give him his 2-week notice.
Also, George is a very Christian man, and he talks about his faith on multiple accounts, and his so-called best friends just shit on his beliefs every single time, which is very disrespectful and, you know, doesn't make any sense. It's just not a cordial way to, or even really a funny way to go about shitting on someone's beliefs, because you can shit on someone's beliefs and it be funny and it still be, you know, humor is a thing. Logan eventually doubled down and said that George needed a therapist because of his belief in Jesus.
Give an example of
one that really hurt me is you told me I need a therapist because I believe in Jesus.
Bro, you laughed at a fucking dead body and like killed rats and put them in trash cans and stuff, and also scammed a bunch of people. Yeah. George called out Logan for this, saying that, you know, belief bashing just straight in front of people is wrong and shouldn't have been done. I would say that this probably is what made him leave. Just the disrespect from Logan and the high horse from Mike and Logan, that the weird Hollywood fucking I'm better than you. I don't worship any sort of deity. I worship myself, my identity, my ego, and what I've done. That's what I worship. Not your God. By the way, I'm not a religious man. I just try to be rational. Logan defends himself from George and said that he can attack George because he knows the veil of love will never go away.
I love you guys. I love you guys. So I'm going to attack you two the fucking hardest.
100%.
That's just how I am in my life, because I know that veil of love will never go away.
But it did, and it didn't go very well. And George started tweeting, guys. That's when you know things are really bad. When people start tweeting. George said, "To the Impulsive fans, I'm so sorry I can't speak about things. Not my choice. I do love you guys, and for those of you sending me the clip of them talking shit, it's all love. I've already moved on from that toxic environment." Hard. True. Based in Red Pill. You know, I can sympathize with this too. There's many things that I can't talk about. It's disingenuous, I think, to say that Bobby Lee caused all this, even though that was like kind of the biggest moment in this whole downward spiral. I think it was just Logan being an asshole. Really, truly. I think he's just kind of fucking tired of it, and he wanted to go do his own thing, which is fair. The whole situation just seems very immature and weird, and I think that with the CryptoZoo shit and just like the lackadaisical nature of comparing all that with how much money he's making with Prime and bragging about it, being on WWE, and it just seems bad. The dude just seems like a bad guy now, which is kind of sad because I used to like Logan Paul. I do think Logan Paul needs to fix all this shit though, to be honest. He doesn't need Impaulsive to succeed. He doesn't need Prime to succeed, but he needs to fix this shit to be a good person, and to just do what's right. Not even about, it isn't even about being a good person. It's just about doing what's right. And I hope Coffee keeps fucking holding the flame under his asshole because I like watching it. It's funny.